se mueve así cuando lo...
So the only thing I can't figure out is the overlay on the camera. Because I think the camera internet is different from the laptop internet. And that's why it's not.
Oh, of course. I don't know who was what, so I just...
That's okay.
So we're short one though, right?
Short one way.
Well, one of those two people didn't get something.
Oh, yeah, because she's a new volunteer and I didn't have her number.
Okay, I'll ask her because I got your order and then I forgot to order mine.
Oh, okay.
So I'll send it and ask her after. So let's figure out what she wants.
Okay.
Ah,
Because basically the camera is connected via Ethernet. We're connected via Wi-Fi, but they're two different connections. So you can't edit the overlay on the camera, so I just took it out.
you can't go from here to the computer to the camera?
No, maybe if I connect the computer. Sí, claro, dame.
Okay.
No sé, pero hay que comprar dos sillas.
I don't know.
Busca dos de ambos equipos. De los rosters, pues.
Slightly jaded Whitecaps fan / 2 people in the valley mostly soccer still want to
Todavía.
Isn't that nice?
No, él tiene que. Él tiene que. Sí, sí, vaya ahí. Tiene que.
And you're looking at
Okay, okay. Sí, gracias.
by the highway, by Surrey, you're hoping to go back to the atmosphere. I was gonna say everything lines up for it should be at least be able to keep afloat, you know what I mean?
Which was interesting. I thought we got obviously we're going to see minus rise. I thought we were
Okay, quita el logo, okay. No lo veo.
swung there. So it's hasn't been bad for us.
Es que voy a estar abajo.
Entonces el breaking es cuando
El himno nacional. Ajá, por ahí.
medio tiempo toca ahí
Detener la grabación, sí.
igual
Sí, gracias.
Scrambling, so we ended up one game last year. One team was at the cap. Like, I said to you. Did that work, Michael?
It kind of did, but then now it's not updating on the camera for some
The
reason.
thing is we have the board and we have the board. So
Yeah.
the score is not. And at
Okay.
least it's not
Okay, do you want me? Let me know if you don't have the graphic. I'll keep saying the score.
Yeah.
I can
Yeah,
repeat
yeah,
the score.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's do that, please.
So once you get the graphic, let me know and I'll shut up about the score. But if you don't have it, I'll just keep saying it.
I won't be able to troubleshoot while I'm down there, so I think we'll just do it without the.
You want, okay, I'll make a note to myself that once every couple of minutes to say the score.
Thank you.
Yeah, no problem.
You talked about zooming in and out, not
Yes.
as much.
yeah,
Yeah,
I did.
yeah. Corners you can zoom in a little bit, but try to stay as wide and tight. Yeah, no, it was they would give us dates in September, and then in October there's like a pumpkin fest or something.
Pumpkin Fest.
Some sort of weird like fall fest.
Because like preempted by the pumpkin.
There's like some fall festival, and then we get pushed out. And so then it was like, okay, we get September dates there. The coach we're having is those grass fields, but it's one of the nicer grass fields. It's not overly used. And then we have to go to like the lake, and you're
Yeah, I guess there isn't anything really grass in. Or is there? Is it already plains?
and so then we end up the reason we chose. Well, we tried to the one year when we couldn't find it, and they said we could do it. We had to kick off at 10 a.m. because they had a night measure when we were playing at 6 or 5. But then they came back and said, "Oh, actually, campus rec is already we got one." And then we tried moving over to the field across the street. And then we tried moving over to the field that Whitecaps use,
Yeah.
and nothing. So, and then
Even
Kenwood's field we couldn't get. No, they said that's an all campus rec on Saturdays and they're not. And so the reason we come here is basically I send the class schedule usually gets done around Christmas time. So I send it off to them. BFC gets first track. They usually get their schedule in mid-January, and then once that, then they send me an email saying 4 of these dates work, and like I think it's next weekend. We play Saturday, they play Sunday. So I had this on Sunday, so I just swapped out that game. So, and I brought that up to David, we just secured our women's Thursday training session with the city of Vancouver this week. They've been just showing up on the field and showing up unbooked. They wouldn't. City of Vancouver's already called. You have to book it. You have to send it to the system. It's so frustrating. But now we are quote unquote historical booking, so we automatically get it. That's just like that's
How much that's a person?
nonsense. Because our bunkers going to drink beer and kids sports, like a little bit of respect, and because it's decent. It's one of the ones they're supposed to redo for 2026 activities, but it's a good field. And our women used it a couple years ago. They practiced in the park. Anything close or anything that's on the school, they have from 9 a.m. or 8:30 a.m. They have all the way till. Are you just here to watch the game? Oh, yeah, it's just for the news. Oh, okay. Okay, no problem.
return game against Capilano?
Sorry, who did?
Kobe Monty?
Yes.
Oh, he did? Okay, good.
Yes,
I didn't know that, so
Kobe,
thank you.
Yeah, so Kobe's out. Okay. Today.
You know, I saw the results and I went through the website. I didn't see that though, so thank you. Thanks for letting me know that.
He's just out today.
What did he do?
I
Drop kick someone?
no, it was late and the ball was ahead and he was way behind and he just came flying in
From behind?
and didn't slow down and
Wipe the guy out?
ball was gone. He wiped the guy out straight red.
Gotcha. Sometimes these things happen. It's good for the game.
He got
Did it? Yeah, it was good.
check.
The Canadian National Anthem is in the book, and we're ready for Match Day 3 action, PACWEST style, a double-header between Langara Falcons and the Douglas College Royals. Of course, as always, Langara hosting here in Langley, British Columbia, Canada. Langley Event Center, the LEC as they call it, Willoughby Field, and I think we're in for a real barn burner of a matchup here, as Langara are coming off their best weekend in over 10 years, their first 6-point weekend for the women since 2014 as they doubled up Capilano last weekend. Douglas, meanwhile, a bit of a rough start for them. They came home empty-handed after last weekend. 2 losses against VIU, who are currently top of the table right now on 6 points. Langara also on 6 points, but they're in second just due to goal difference. Capilano and Douglas College both rooted to the foot of the table on 0 points. So Douglas, the ladies in green here, looking to get off the mark and get some points in the column there with time ticking down towards playoffs. Last year's encounters between these two squads, Langara, 1 win, 2 losses and 1 draw against Douglas in the 2024 regular season. Coming into this game, Langara, first ranking since pre-COVID. They come in ranked by the CCA at number 6. Douglas, meanwhile, ranked at number 12. Let's get you the starting 11s for both squads. First for the visiting Douglas College. In goal, number 1, Estelle Gonzalez. Number 3, Georgia Dalrymple. Number 4, Justina Parks. Number 5, Anna Claver Valdez. Number 9, Jessica Parks. Number 10, one of my favorite players to watch in the women's PACWEST soccer division, Isabel Dobbin, a talismanic forward if you've ever seen one. Number 12, Haley Rogers will be on the park. Number 14, Emma Saran. Number 22, Kelly Miata. Number 23, Hannah Scott. And last but not least, number 25, Ashlyn Grimm. The Royals are led by head coach Dalibor Plavsic. Let's get you the starting 11 for the Langara Falcons. Undefeated to start the campaign. First time in, like I said, over 10 years. Brand new keeper. Did the business last weekend. Number 1, Kate Bonazou in net. The rest of the squad for the Falcons, number 3, Rita Cerceris. Number 5, Madison Hung, who's been a very welcome addition for the Falcons. Melina Glavis as well, she's number 7. Number 8, Manat Dillon. Number 9, another good forward out there for Langara. It'll be a serious duel between the number 9, Erin Bandel, and number 10, Isabel Dobbin from Douglas. Number 13, Cassidy Kwan. Number 16, Tess Van de Vecht. Number 21, Ava Giovanazzo. Number 23, Madison Pinch. And number 25, Annette Hernandez. The head coach for the Langara Falcons is Alvin Prasad. The Falcons are wearing their all-white strip today. They're playing from right to left on your stream. A little bit of black and orange piping and trim and numbering as well. And the Douglas Royals in those classy royal green kits. Green head to toe with a little bit of white and, dare I say, silver piping and trim on there. They're playing from left to right on your broadcast stream here today. And we'll keep you abreast of all the action going on across the PACWEST, men's and women's. Of course, we do have the doubleheader both sides today. The other encounters see the Mariners, VIU. They're visiting Capilano. Then, of course, tomorrow they'll swap it out. VIU will come and take on Langara for a doubleheader, and Douglas will take on Capilano. This could be an early chance here. Ball cut across the area in the air. I believe it was Cassidy Kwan across the width of the park. Easily claimed by the keeper for Douglas, the number 1, Estelle Gonzalez. Just under a minute in, still 0-0. And both squads looking to get forward early. I expect goals in this one. Like I said, the number 10 Dobbin for Douglas and the number 9 Bandel for Langara Falcons. No strangers to putting the ball in the back of the net. And both back lines of either squad definitely have their work cut out whenever those two ladies are on the park. Douglas carving out a little bit of territory here in the Langara end. Just under 2 minutes in, still 0-0. Langara ladies not making the playoffs last season, while Douglas fell to Capilano in the semifinals, I believe in a penalty shootout if I'm not mistaken. Capilano went on to fall to VIU in the PACWEST finals last year. Opportunity moving forward for Douglas. It was Justina Parks who was in the mix there. So far, Douglas looking the sharper of the two squads. Just as I say that, a misplaced pass by the number 25, Ashlyn Grimm, and this could be real trouble with Cassidy Kwan on the ball now. She's in the right channel, the number 13. Alvin Prasad at pitch level. Langara Falcons coach asking for a bit more communications from his ladies early in this one. Good play into the feet of Madison Hung from Rita Sirsiris. That's one back. And Annette Hernandez just can't get the ball out of her feet and shimmy into a little bit of good space. Douglas once again. Just a bit of an unforced error there. Didn't need to rush that pass. Just approaching the 3-minute mark. 0-0 here between the undefeated Langara Falcons and the winless Douglas Royals. And Alvin Prasad, the Falcons coach, welcomed in a bevy of new players in the offseason. Goalkeeper Kate Bonazou. Madison Hung, the number 5, who's a pacey winger who not only will run the channels, she knows her way around a finish inside the 18-yard box as well, scoring on her debut. Melina Glavis they've added. Erin Bandel, the number 9, who, as I mentioned in that last weekend's set of affairs, my type of center forward, a big forward who's not afraid to press high, win the ball back, but can also do the business, the physical bit in the penalty box. They also added Tess Van de Vecht. Annette Hernandez is playing a more influential role, it seems, early in this season. The Whitecaps Academy player. So it's been very positive for the Langara Falcons to start the campaign. The Douglas Royals, meanwhile, they'll want to at least get some points in the book here. Yes, they are away from home, but I can't imagine that they want to leave this set of matches empty-handed. Of course, they do get Capilano tomorrow. I believe it's Giovinazzo with a throw up the far right-hand side. They've actually swapped Giovinazzo and Rita Sirsiris. Usually Rita plays on the right and Giovinazzo is here on the left. Maybe a tactical shift just due to the opposition. The number 5 for Douglas, Anna Claver-Valdez, is a serious speed demon. And maybe they sussed out that maybe Giovinazzo might have been done for pace there, as Rita Sirsiris does have a bit more legs to her when it comes to the speed department. Good free kick win there by the number 9, Erin Bandel, just outside the 18-yard box. Typically you want it a couple yards back just to give the striker of the free kick a little bit of space and distance to get the ball over the wall, but they might just try and knuckle this one under the wall or try and play a cute 1-2, who knows. It looks like it's Cassidy Kwan, Hernandez, and I believe Glavis standing over it. I'm trying to recall if any of them are swift with their left foot. It looks like Hernandez is shaping up for it. 6 minutes in, 0-0. First real chance of the game here. It's Hernandez left-footed, hit with some steam. Oh, and I think it came off the outside of the post. That's a very good effort. It was actually saved. I think it took a touch off the keeper, so good effort. Even better save there by Estelle Gonzalez in the Royals net. First real chance of the game goes the way of the Falcons. 0-0 now as we approach the 7th minute. And a corner kick, on the far right-hand side of the LEC turf here at Willoughby Field. Ball played short for Hernandez. Back to Hung. Can she put the ball in the area? No, she's going to go for a little dribble. Can she clip it in? She does! Oh, it comes to the head of Madison Pinch, who I think thought Isabel Dobbin was getting to that, and all she could do was kind of knock it down in the area. That was a bit of a half chance there. Still 0-0, and the Falcons coming to life now offensively. And the sun just starting to peek out here in Langley. No real rain, so says the weatherman, before this encounter. Mostly partly cloudy, but now the sun is starting to peek out. 20 degrees, and it looks like it will only get warmer, up to 22. No rain expected, but actually perfect soccer conditions. It's not too hot, not too cold, and not too breezy, which sometimes can be the conditions here at Willoughby Field. If you've ever listened to one of my broadcasts, it really does become a wind tunnel, especially up here in the broadcast booth, high atop Willoughby Field in the nosebleeds. What a barrel of a throw that was. I think that was Giovinazzo who just heaved it into the area. Cassidy Kwan couldn't bring it under her spell. And unfortunately for the Douglas Royals, it was Haley Rogers who slipped on the ball. We could have a real chance here. It's Glavis. Can she cut it back? She does! It's out of the reach of Cassidy Kwan, but the right trailer is Dylan! What a block there. I think it's the number 25, Ashlyn Grimm, who just got a toe on that one. Beg your pardon, it was actually offside, but what a chance that was. Kudos to the number 25 in the back line of Douglas College, Grimm, because she doesn't know it's offside. She still had to make that block, and she did so. Good play there by the Falcons. Somewhat aided by an unfortunate ball slip by Haley Rogers. Now here come the Royals down the other end. This could be a chance. They've got numbers. It's 3-on-2. The ball played a little bit ahead of Claver Valdez. Can she reel it in? She can, actually. Madison Pinch beats her to it. I beg your pardon. That's Tess Van de Vecht who came across the 18-yard box and steamed in for that challenge. And I think it's just what the doctor ordered for Van de Vecht, who's a defender who's not afraid to leave her mark on the strikers. She wasn't about to just let the Douglas Royals waltz in on her there. She made her way across the penalty box and threw in a robust challenge to clear that one. It's a throw-in for the Royals, knotted down by Dobbin, and then cleared right back to the corner flag. It'll be a deep throw-in. Rita Circeris couldn't get it. Ball thrown over the head. It actually lands favorably for Hannah Scott. Can she make a play? Van de Vecht does just enough to shield her before Madison Pinch comes across to boot it out into touch. And this, I think, is good for the Douglas Royals. They were kind of on the ropes there. They couldn't really get their way out of their own half, and maybe just a little bit of time setting up in the Falcons' end of things will just relieve a little bit of that stress of having to defend. Ball knocked into the path of Kelly Miata, but it was a bit of an awkward ball. She couldn't really control it. It was about pelvis height. Still 0-0 if you're just joining us. 10 minutes in. Two real chances for the Falcons. One off a Hernandez free kick that rubbed up against the post after a great Estelle Gonzalez save. The other was a offside chance that was charged down by Ashlyn Grimm in the Douglas defense. And there's Grimm now. Great nutmeg there to release Miata. That's a fantastic ball into the right channel for Dobbin to chase, and she has a player on the inside. It's Justina Parks. Oh, Dobbin needed to get that ball to Parks. The Langara defense, including Van de Vecht, hadn't sussed out the danger of Parks yet, and if Dobbin just managed to slip it into her number 4, that was a real chance there for the Douglas Royals, but the Langara defense bending but not breaking there. And the sun really coming out here. Black was not a good color for the broadcaster today. I'm absolutely sweating to the oldies right now. Don't laugh at me, cameraman Rodrigo. Don't laugh at me. If you're coming out to the park today, Willoughby Field at the LEC, do dress for the occasion. It does look cloudy, but it's become a bit of a pressure cooker here in the last 30 seconds or so. Once again, the season record between these two. Langara only winning 1, 2 Douglas wins, and a draw across the 4 matches that they did play against each other. But Langara have turned a page here in the offseason with Alvin Prasad getting some new recruits and also some new ideology as well. Their first 6-point weekend last weekend when they turned over Capilano. First double victory since 2014, so definitely something to hang their hat on for the Lady Falcons. Corner kick now the way of the Royals near left side. That 6-yard box is awfully packed. Like sardines in there. There's only 2 or 3 players that aren't in there. And Ashlyn Grimm's going to take the corner kick. It unfortunately doesn't make it into that packed 6-yard box, which, my goodness, if it had, that would have been absolute chaos. I would have not have fancied Kate Bonazu's chances in the Langara goal. The teal-clad Bonazu, number 1 in net for Langara, off to the right. Her counterpart, Estelle Gonzalez, the number 1, wearing the taxi cab yellow, or school bus yellow, I guess you could say. We are at the collegiate level, so let's go with school bus yellow. Estelle Gonzalez's kit, head to toe in the left portion of the stream here, in between the sticks for the Douglas Royals, who, after weathering a bit of storm, look like they got a little bit of pepper in their soup, especially with this high press we're seeing right now. Giovinazzo looked like that ball stayed in, but I am opposite side of the field. She tried to just rake it up that right touch line. No such luck. And it's Emma Saran on the far side to take the throw in. Giovinazzo just lets it roll out. That's one of the more impressive throws you're going to see in the PACWEST from Giovinazzo there. I think that was a 50-yarder. She may have picked the wrong football to play. She might be better suited as a quarterback. That was one heck of a throw-in from Giovinazzo. Rita Cerceres has it now, and you can tell the Falcons just want to pass the ball around and reestablish that rhythm they had just a couple minutes ago before Douglas put them to the sword. One of the things that really worked for the Falcons last weekend in their double victory over Capilano was that high press, the likes of Dylan Bandel, Cassidy Kwan, Madison Hung. They just never stopped running at that Capilano defense, and I think at least 2 of their 3 goals came off of just giveaways by the back line when they had too many white shirts around them. So the Falcons need to get back to that, creating chances in and around the 18-yard box. We're 14 minutes in. It's still 0-0 between the Falcons and the Royals. Cerceres to Kwan, tries to roll her defender, doesn't get to it, but Hung wins it back. Cerceres clips the ball into the penalty box. The closest player was Glavis, and she would have been very hard-pressed to get to that one. A little bit of a let-off for Douglas. 14 minutes in, still 0-0. And now Estelle Gonzalez is getting a bit cheeky, dropping it into a crowd of 3 white shirts. Bonazou into the head of Hung. It's one down by Justina Parks, one of 2 Parks on the field today. Justina Parks, the number 4, and Jessica Parks, the number 9. Both from White Rock, both from Semiahmoo Secondary, so I'm going to take a wild stab and say that they're probably sisters. I haven't had confirmation on this, so don't kill me if they're not, but I think it's a safe bet. Grimm, another good win down by Grimm. She's been very noticeable in the back line, and I mean that in a positive way. The last thing you want to do is be noticeable in a bad way in the back line, but she's been very tidy so far as the number 25 for Douglas College, Ashlyn Grimm from Langley, BC. Right here, just down the road, the local girl playing here in Willoughby. Good pass there by Giovinazzo. This is positive. Madison Hung was kind of going for the long drifted diagonal ball, but it was Glavis who played it forward, perhaps looking for Cassidy Kwan. It just was kind of here nor there, and neither could track it down. Douglas have the ball again. 16 minutes in, still 0-0. Langara Falcons probably the sharper of the 2 squads, at least on chances created. One off a free kick hitting the post, the other a great block, I should say, by Ashlyn Grimm, as it looked like Manat Dillon may have had a tap in. This is promising. Parks into the penalty box for the number 4 Parks, 9-4, Park to Park, coast to coast. But unfortunately, doesn't bulge the twine. Bonazou right on top of that one. No real stress for the number 1 of the Falcons. She'll bowl out to her right for Van de Vecht. Coach Prasad of the Falcons just asking for a bit more movement from the Falcons here. Glavis, good ball into the feet of Kwan. She has Glavis on the return. Kwan's going to go for a shot. That one looked like it might knuckle over and dip over top of Estelle Gonzalez. I still think the overlapping run of Glavis might have been the way to go, and it was quite the run. She had busted a gut to get there, did Glavis, but Cassidy Kwan took her chances there from distance, and it almost got over top of the number 1 Estelle Gonzalez. Good effort there from Kwan. Grimm, long diagonal aerial ball, almost knotted down by Dobbin. They're expecting a lot of Dobbin on some of these aerial balls. They're head and shoulders above the number 10, who's had to do a lot of chasing early in this one with not a lot of reward. Georgia Dalrymple now. That was looking to release Anna Claver Valdez, that long diagonal. I believe it was Haley Rogers who tried to steam that one to this right touchline. She just couldn't get to it. Claver Valdez, though, who, as I've mentioned, is a serious speed merchant. She can really turn on the jets when she wants to, and that's a real threat to the defense of the Falcons. Long floated ball over the top now. Easy chest down for Madison Pinch, and her partner Van de Vecht is right there to get the outlet. Van de Vecht will lift the ball central in the air. It goes over the head of Haley Rogers. Cassidy Kwan, I think, thought that was sussed out. Estelle Gonzalez comes out of her net to play that one. Still 0-0 here in the 18th minute between Douglas and Langara. Douglas substitutes just up off their bench, getting their legs warmed up. Doesn't look like anyone's going through any rigorous paces here, so I don't think Dalibor Plavsic will make an immediate change here, but perhaps he's just tinkering with the idea of his mind. Cassidy Kwan, great sombrero over the head of Haley Rogers, and she might be all alone. Cassidy Kwan still going. Cassidy Kwan, right-footed shot, and it just doesn't have enough power behind it. She had done all the hard work to shrug off 2 or 3 green shirts, including Haley Rogers, who was right on top of her, and Cassidy Kwan, just right in the moment of truth from the penalty dot, just couldn't put it either side of Gonzalez, and not enough steam to create a real rebound. You could argue that should be 1-0. Real good chance there for the Falcons. The other women's matchup today, VIU taking on Capilano, that kicks off in just over 40 minutes time. Beg your pardon, just under 40 minutes time. I believe 1 p.m. is the kickoff there, and we'll keep our eye on the PACWESTBC.ca website and see what it does for the standings on the women's side of things at the end of today. And of course, more matchups coming tomorrow. A little bit of musical chairs. Langara will welcome VIU, the Mariners, and Douglas will welcome Capilano. The referee just giving instructions there to the Douglas bench to have their substitutes warm up just behind the goal line as opposed to the sideline. Sometimes a bit of a visual distraction. Some Douglas College fans on the far side here at Willoughby Field throwing up the DC chant. Good control there by Dobbin. Works herself out of a foam booth. Bit of an optimistic blast there from Dobbin. Acute angle, left-footed, low and hard. Easily clutched and claimed by Kate Bonazu here at the LEC, Willoughby Field, just outside of the actual Langley Event Center itself, the home of the WHL Giants. Good ball win there by Cassidy Kwan. Also the home of the Vancouver Bandits, local basketball club. And of course, Vancouver FC of CPL fame who ply their trade here as well. And just a hub for soccer, as I mentioned. Every time I come out here, I know I sound like I'm working for the city or something like that, but as far as the Valley is concerned, it is a real cool area. They got beach volleyball courts. I think they have a skate park. They got basketball courts. They got soccer fields as far as the eye can see. They've got rugby. They've got football. And, of course, the big one here, and, of course, the LEC. Picnic benches, just a great place to have lunch. Madison Hung has gotten behind the defense now. It looks like she might have an open net to shoot at. Madison Hung is going to tap it in. Estelle Gonzalez came off her line. And there was a bit of confusion in the back line for Douglas. And the Langara Falcons pounce for the second weekend in a row. Madison Hung, the new arrival, gets her goal. 1-0 Falcons in the 21st minute. And Estelle Gonzalez has had a few of those today where she's come flying off her line to try and take on a ball that maybe her defense had under control. And Madison Hung just inserted herself in there, added to the hecticness, and it was, I want to say, Gonzalez's clearance that either came off the shins of Hung or the backtracking defender. And once Hung saw the ball spring clear, she just put on the burners, got to it, and it was an easy tap. And 1-0 Langara in the 22nd minute. And you have to say it's so far deserved. They've been the better two of the squads here on the park today. You could also argue it could be 2-0 if Cassidy Kwan had just managed to slip that one past Gonzalez moments before. Nonetheless, this has given something to the Falcons to build on. Madison Hung now, she's going to take on the defender. I believe it's Miata. Yes, it is. Miata stayed with her the whole way. Good jockeying there by Miata, and that's kind of what you have to do with Hung. You can't give her a bit of space or lunge in on her because she'll just take it the other way, and then you're in real trouble. Hernandez sees the ball get away from her, and that will be a foul. Good advantage there, and bring back by the referee, as I believe it was Justina Park. Yes, it was. Who just got clipped there by Hernandez. A little bit of wind over the park now, which is actually welcome. Blue skies, though. Beautiful sunshine, a little bit of wind as well. As it does start to kind of drift into fall here in the lower mainland and the Fraser Valley. We do have to relish these days where it is just perfect weather. Not too hot, not too cold. A gentle summer's breeze kissing our cheek as well. I'm getting a bit too poetic here. Here come the Douglas Royals. Justine Park just looking to slip it in for Dobbin, who's playing more as a winger today. We've seen her more in the channels and kind of the outside fringes of the penalty box as opposed to right inside of it, which I think I might want to alter because Dobbin is an absolute monster in the penalty box. I think you need to get her as close to goal as absolutely possible. Valdez, two-hander behind the plate. It was Hannah Scott who got thumped over by Cassidy Kwan. And the referee will bring it back. 24th minute, 0-0. If you're just joining us, Madison Hung has scored back-to-back weekends. She has the Langara Falcons up 1-0. Just a big tip of the cap. The Falcons must be proud of themselves that for the first time since pre-COVID, they bring home a CCAA ranking, number 6. And as I mentioned earlier in the broadcast and off the top of the broadcast, their first 6-point weekend in over a decade since 2014. And they do it in the opening day of the season, no less. So plenty to build on here for the Langara Falcons as the season goes on, especially considering last year where there were bright moments and there were sparks of brilliance, but they just couldn't put it all together. And unfortunately missed the playoffs. I have to say it's almost been day and night at the beginning of this campaign. Alvin Prasad, the coach, must be happy to see some of the hard work paying off. Madison Pinch now is going to try and chase this one down or at least keep the number 9 Jessica Parks at bay, which she does just in time for Kate Bonazu to shepherd it across the goal line. Still 1-0 for the Falcons, 25th minute. I think we might see a substitution here for the Falcons. Looks like it's Amber Wells. But she hasn't taken off her training bib. This could be a chance here for Douglas. Anna Claver Valdez to her right foot. Takes a shot! Just balloons it over the bar, though. That was the first real chance of the match for Douglas, and it came off a bit of a bobble just outside the penalty box where, much like Madison Hung on the other end for the opening goal, Claver Valdez was right on top of that one, and she put everything in the kitchen sink behind that right-footed shot. Unfortunately, she just got too far under it, and it flies off into section ML here at Willoughby Field. Good challenge there by Madison Hung to win the ball back as she was a little bit mismatched for size there. Erin Bandel, who by her standards has been very quiet. She was all over the page in that Capilano set of matches last weekend. But different opponent, different role, and so far the Langara Falcons have been enjoying their football here. 26th minute, 1-0, the way of the ladies in white. It will be Amber Wells to come on here. I now see the number 11 peeking through the mesh training bib. And now the referee will allow the substitution to happen. It'll be Cassidy Kwan coming off here. And the number 11, Amber Wells, who was one of the Langara All-Stars from last campaign. She'll make her way onto the park. It was a good opening 26 minutes there for Cassidy Kwan. Carved out a couple chances for herself. The one I'm sure Alvin Prasad would have hoped she would have buried, where she was one-on-one with the keeper and just went for the toe poke, but it was a little bit too tame. Not sure what the issue was there at the fourth officials bench, but the lineswoman just came over to have a bit of a word there with the bench, and the referee actually had to bring the play back. And now we're going to actually have it retaken again, so I'm not sure what is going on down there, but third time's a charm. There we go. I think the referee was just waiting for everyone to kind of be settled and oh, I guess that's what it was. Perhaps the goal kick was from that other side. It'll be Madison Pinch who will come over to blast this one. She's got some range, does Pinch. Amber Wells scraps out with Haley Rogers there. Anna Claver Valdez comes back to win it off Rita Sirciris. That'll go the way of the number 3 for the Falcons, who's unfortunately thrown it, and it's jumped up and hit the arm of Amber Wells. free kick the way of Douglas. We're in the 28th minute now. It's 1-0 Falcons. Madison Hung has the goal. Amber Wells. For Van de Vecht, who I've really liked her style of play. That's something I think the Langara Falcons were missing the last couple seasons. Just a little bit of physicality and a little bit of grit and a little bit of never say die attitude, and I think that's what Van de Vecht brings to the table. She's not afraid to make a big statement tackle against the star striker of the other squad to send a message, and she can also play the ball as well. She does it pretty consistently across all categories, so a welcome addition from the Canada West is the number 16 Van de Vecht in the back line for the Falcon. Madison Hung just trips up Kelly Miata. All right, she might have had another cruise in on net. There were times last year where Cassidy Kwan was being brought back from a center forward role to play in the center of defense just to give them a bit more height and a bit more robust play. But now with Madison Pinch and Van de Vecht in the back line, the speed and just the talented feet of Rita Sears, and once again on the opposite side, that never say die attitude of Eva Giovinazzo, who herself is coming off an injury but looks like she's actually gotten better since the injury. I think you have to be really happy with this Falcons backline. Erin Bandel, I had mentioned earlier, was a little bit quiet in this one so far. She throws in a good tackle there to win the ball back for the Falcons, just to get herself involved. Van de Vecht now back to Pinch, a little bit of a dicey one, but Pinch actually plays herself out of trouble. Good play there by Glavis to show. And scrap for the ball back. Hernandez, Giovinazzo. And now Amber Wells gets a slew foot there from Grimm. That'll be a free kick. Manat Dillon's been a little bit quiet today as well. Her and Bandel were just so influential in that set of victories last week against Capilano. And outside of the one chance that was charged down by Grimm earlier in the half where she was kind of the late arriving midfielder in the box. It's been a very quiet day at the office so far for Manat Dillon, and now Estelle Gonzalez has gone for a bit of a journey again. The net's wide open. It's been peeled off of her foot by Amber Wells. Can they sort it out? The Falcons, they can't. And that is something that I'm sure the Douglas Royals goalkeeping coach might want to just have a quick word with Estelle Gonzalez about. She's come out for a few adventures here in this first half where perhaps staying home might have been the way to go. It looks like most of the time her defenders, if they don't have it in immediate control, it looks like they're in the area where they can put in tackles and take care of the Falcons offensively. So maybe Estelle Gonzalez may want to think once or twice moving forward about charging out for some of these halfway balls approaching the 18-yard box. 31st minute, 1-0 for the Falcons, and they have another chance here. Hernandez almost tucked one in left-footed from the opposite side of the field earlier in the half, but I don't know if this sizes up for her with that same left foot. I think is it Van de Vecht standing over this one? It is. We know she can do it from the back line, but does she have the cultured right foot to put this one past the Douglas goalie? 31st minute, she's going to give it a crack, it looks like. Here comes Van de Vecht, number 16. She lays it off for Hernandez, who herself right-footed, scoops it over the bar. I don't think that would have troubled Estelle Gonzalez had it stayed down. Rolled out short, 32nd minute, still 1-0 Falcons. And you can see the Falcons smelling blood here. They love that high press. Amber Wells now playing very forward where Cassidy Kwan was. So they're almost using Erin Bandel as a number 10 of sorts. They're playing her kind of in the hole behind Wells, and I want to say just slightly behind Madison Hung, who herself is not playing as an outright forward, but not as an outright winger either. So it's a very interesting dynamic they have here, but it seems to be working so far. And you just wonder if the Douglas Royals will eventually go to their bench here in this first half. About 15 minutes to go here. Still 1-0 Falcons. Do join us for the doubleheader as the Langara men take on the Douglas men in a rematch of last year's PACWEST final, where the Langara Falcons coughed up a 2-0 lead to 10 men Douglas. in regulation, only to carry it over the line for their first championship in quite some time in penalty shootouts. Of course, Douglas were the reigning champs and #1 ranked, which they are coming into today's affair as well. So Douglas will be looking for a modicum of revenge after having to surrender their title to the feisty Falcons. That one's coming up at 2:30, and of course we'll have the call for you here on the PACWEST and Langara Falcons YouTube channels. And Isabel Dobbin just cutting out a bit of a frustrated figure at the moment. For a woman who is very used to getting the ball in the back of the net and lighting the league on fire. It's been a tough slug this opening 34 minutes to Dobbin. I think she might have 1 or 2 touches inside the penalty box. And they'll definitely want to get Dobbin more involved. Claver Valdez. Oh, and that's a misplaced pass there by the Falcons. Very uncharacteristic. It's Justina Parks. She's going to get on the end of this one. Can they put in a cross? Parks going to carry it to the goal line. Right-footed, low and hard. It's cut out by Manat Dillon and does well to save the goal kick as well and play it out for a throw-in. Good backtracking tackle and recovery aid there for the defense by the #8 Manat Dillon. Be Miata on the throw-in. Dobbin knees it down to Parks. Parks going to attempt another cross. This one comes off the shins of Rita Cerceris. And it'll be a corner kick for the Douglas Royals, which once again, I think I've said it earlier in the matchup, just with the doctor order, they need to ride a bit of this Falcons pressure and see if they can get something themselves here, because can't imagine they want to be playing rope-a-dope for a full 90 minutes here. Everybody again in the 6-yard box. Can Grimm get this one in? She does. Bonazu punches it away, and she does a very good job. She pushed it right where it needed to go, not back into the danger area, cleared it out wide, and now she's giving her squad a chance to break with Madison Hung, who's the fastest player on the park. Unfortunately, she just couldn't get it over the head of the defender, number 23, Hannah Scott. Now here comes Douglas up the other end. Grimm. She plays in a great ball for Dobbin, just who you want it there for. Brave goalkeeping there by Bonazu. And the referee rightfully calls the foul. That's fantastic play by the Douglas Royals from Parks right into the danger woman, Dobbin. But once again, Kate Bonazu, twice in the span of probably a minute. First on that corner kick, and then on the second wave of pressure. Great timing by Kate Bonazu, who has been fantastic in between the sticks. Hasn't had a ton to do in this first half, but the 2 times she's been called on here, she was equal to the task. 36th minute, still 1-0 for the Falcons, but the Douglas Royals have made their presence known in this last 2 minutes or so. Dobbin tries to bring the ball under her spell. She's just going to try and thug 2 Falcons, but Van de Vecht is not having any of that. She throws the side tackle in, could play there from Hernandez. Good win there by Bandel. Into the path of Wells, back for Hung. Hung onside, in the penalty box now. Hung waiting for options, puts on the brakes, clips it back across the area. I might have to see a replay of that one, if in fact we do have such technology available here, because Madison Hung looked like she had kept herself onside, which is unfortunate. 37th minute, 1-0 for the Falcons. Looks like we still have goals here in this matchup, though. And the Douglas subs up off the bench to get their paces in again. Very brave goalkeeping by Kate Bonazu. Again, I think if she stays on her line or doesn't come out right in the nick of time, I think that's an easy goal for Dobbin, who's just trucked Van de Vecht now. And that's going to be a real battle to watch, because neither of those girls want to give up an inch physically. And I think we're going to see the start of a little saga here down this left channel. But you love to see it. You love to see it. Pinch for Hernandez. Great play to the right for Giovinazzo, who has a bit of space to carry forward. She gets it for Wells. Wells who herself had a bit of space. Instead, she's going to go over top for Glavis. Glavis, can she get there? Glavis! Oh, that time Estelle Gonzalez got her run bang on. Kudos there to the number 1 in the sticks for Douglas. Because if that wasn't bang on, that might have been an easy, easy goal for Glavis. But Gonzalez make amends there. Well done to the number 1 in the sticks of Douglas. Grimm, long, raking, left-footed aerial ball. Helped on by Dobbin, looking for Parks, who's going to scrap it out with Giovinazzo. And Van de Vet comes clear across the field to slide tackle that off the foot of Dobbin. So I think something's come alive in Van de Vet here. Great ball in for Madison Hung. Can she get around her defender Miata? She has. Hung all alone. Right-footed shot! Just wide. Just carrying wide to the left post. And Madison Hung didn't have a ton of options backtracking or arriving late, I should say. So she just uncorked one on the right foot with Kelly Miata breathing down her neck. Good chance there again from Madison Hung. We're in the 39th minute. It's 1-0, and now this game is really starting to opening up as Douglas are keen to press the issue. Haley Rogers just tries to bypass the midfield. It finds the feet of Van de Vet, who, under pressure, gives it away. And it's getting a bit scrappy. The Douglas forwards now are really starting to give the defenders of Langara something to think about here. They're becoming a bit more physical, and they're really pressing a little bit higher. Hung now gets it to the goal line. Hung still going left foot, clips it across. Nobody there. And I don't think Emma Saran got a shout there. Almost side-footed into her own goal when I think the right play would have been to just let it breathe and roll out. But it was a little bit of panic stations there as Madison Hung, anytime she's tap dancing in the area, seems to smoke bomb the opposition defense, and it did just that. They were 7s and 6s there. Thankfully, not an own goal. Corner kick played short from the far right-hand side. Knocked down by Bandel. Manat Dillon tried to help it back on for Amber Wells, but it was just a bit behind, or I should say a bit ahead of the number 11 for the Falcons. And Gonzalez now has the ball. It's the 40th minute. It's 1-0. The Langara Falcons have the lead off the strength of a Madison Hung empty net goal. Good win down there by Giovinazzo. A clean win, too. Glavis. I think they need to get Glavis more involved. She's keen to work the 1-2s, and she has a great range of passing. Gets it into the path of Amber Wells, who herself is shoulder tackled away there by Rogers. I'm not sure what the call is here. I think it's a foul against Langara. In fact, it is, I think, maybe just a high boot by Bandel. About 5 minutes to go, plus added time, which I can't imagine is a ton. I don't think we've had any stoppages in this first half. Estelle Gonzalez welcoming a bit of pressure here. She's played Kelly Miata into a corner. Cerceris into the path of Wells, who just clips ahead of Rogers to win it. Now Bandel, look at that. Good play there by Bandel. She can have a shot. She's going to try and play it into the path of Glavis, who made that diagonal inside run just to get in front of Grimm. I thought Bandel was just going to open up her body and try and smash one on net, which I wouldn't have had a problem with either. They've got a good range of options here, do the Falcons, whether it's passing or shooting. It's going to be a corner kick, actually, with Madison Hung, a right-footed in-swinger from this near left-hand side in the 42nd minute. Played short. Glavis comes the width of the park. Right-footed. Can she put in a ball? No, she tried to cut it back, but Claver Valdez got in front of her, and I think it was a shirt tug by Glavis, who might get a stern talking to here, and I think she will. It was a good tactical foul, though, just the type of foul I appreciate. I'm a big fan of professional fouls. If you see there's danger coming back your alley, take the foul in the opposition half and live to fight another day, and I think that's just what Glavis did, and I think it was the right call, because with Anna Claver Valdez, who's a pretty smooth criminal when it comes to pace, that might have been a gut-busting backtracking run for the number 7 Falcons, so she went for the shirt tug, and it pays off. Next time, she probably goes in the book, though. Pinch. Wells, she gets thumped over. Dillon. 43rd minute, still 1-0 Falcons. Madison Hung has the goal. Van de Vecht over to Sirsiris, who has some time and some space. She's going to try and get it forward. The braided number 3 carries past Valdez, still going Rita Sirsiris. Tried to play it to Madison Hung, but she's going to try and get on the end of her own ball here. Good job by Sirsiris. Great play by Hung. Skips around Valdez. The number 5's dueling, I should say, and then she goes for a top corner effort there, and just a little bit too much loft on that one from Hung. It was almost a cross. They got weighted towards the goal. But kudos to Rita Sirsiris there, who played a 1-2 with herself, seemingly. And she's got a never say die attitude, the number 3. Hernandez beats Parks to that one. I believe it was Jessica Parks this time. Hernandez now on the ball for Sirsiris. Played it into Wells, but it was not the greatest control by Wells. It was steamed in there, all things being equal, by Sirsiris. I don't know if I saw a foul there, and I definitely didn't see the ball roll out, so I'm not sure why the lineswoman was throwing her flag up there. But 44th minute, and Douglas have a chance just inside their own half to get the ball forward here with time ticking down on a potential first half equalizer. VIU taking on Capilano in the other women's matchup today. That kicks off in about 12 minutes time, and we'll get you that score probably in the second half here, because we will take a 15-minute halftime break here at Willoughby Field in the Langley Event Center, home of this PACWEST doubleheader here between Langara and Douglas. Claver Valdez had her tap dancing shoes on there, and it's Annette Hernandez who sprung Hung. Estelle Gonzalez was going to come off her line again, but she put on the brakes and backtracks. Hung now in the area, cuts back to her right foot, tries to put in a cross, comes shot. It's headed straight up in the air by Grimm, who did well to get to her second ball there and clear it with Glavis right in and around the penalty box. Dillon Bandel, who's playing much deeper in this game than she did last weekend against Capilano. Maybe they just need a bit more range in the middle of the park there, the Falcons. So far, it's done the job. We're into the 45th minute now. I didn't see the amount of added time thrown up. Parks. Good play by Parks there. Long raking diagonal ball looking for Jessica Parks. Park to park, coast to coast once again, but Bonazou's having none of that. She's managed to cut out every single long diagonal ball that any potential Douglas Ford could run onto. And I think somebody over on that far end has a very rusty Vuvuzela. It does not sound good. He needs to take that to the shop to get it serviced. Vuvuzela should not be sounding that muddled. If you're going to bring the Vuvuzela, at least tune it up. Throw in from Giovinazzo over the head of Wells. Dillon in there trying to win the ball, but Douglas just play it cleanly around the white shirts. Unfortunately, one too many passes, and now Glavis is on top of it. Bandel tried to return to Glavis, but just not enough weight on that pass, and it's Haley Rogers who will carry forward now. To her right for Valdez, in for Dobbin, who puts the brakes on and goes back. Has Parks on the switch. She's going to play a great ball over the top for Parks, and this could be a real chance. Left-footed, can she carry in? Parks, left-footed shot, side of the net, and that's probably the best chance of the match for Douglas, and an absolute pinpoint ball by Isabel Dobbin. And Parks actually did very well to kind of control that inner stride and not put it too far ahead of herself. Definitely the best well-worked chance of the match so far for Douglas. Very close to the chance created on this near side by, I believe it was Justina Parks and Isabel Dobbin that Bonazou intercepted probably about 20 minutes ago. So Douglas have had their chances. They've had their chances. They probably won't count as shots on goal when everything is said and done, but they have caused havoc, Douglas. Here comes Bandel now. She's going to try and get to the outside, or inside, I beg your pardon, of Haley Rogers, and she's going to get there. Good run there by Bandel, who takes a knee, after making that lung-busting run to get to that ball on the sideline. And we'll go into the halftime locker room 1-0 with the Langara Falcons in the lead. Madison hung with the goal, but it's been very open. Chances at both ends to speak of. We'll take a quick 15-minute break, and we'll come back with more PACWEST action. The doubleheader today here at the LEC, Willoughby Field here in Langley, British Columbia, Canada. The men kick off at 2:30, a rematch of last year's PACWEST Championship. But it's the ladies' affair still to settle here. 1-0 for the Falcons heading into the halftime locker room. As mentioned, more PACWEST action coming up. Do stay tuned. Welcome back to the Langley Event Center, Willoughby Field to be specific, home of the PACWEST Match Day 3 doubleheader here between Langara and Douglas College. The women's match, of course, up first and just about to get going here in the second half. Langara Falcons leading 1-0 on the strength of a Madison Hung goal in that first half. Of course, Langara entering today's Match Day 3 tied for tops of the table on 6 points. They won both their matchups in the opening weekend against Capilano last weekend. Meanwhile, Douglas, they're looking for their first points of the season after finishing as a semi-finalist last year. 0 points, 2 losses against VIU to start their campaign. So a bit of a rough one for the ladies in green, and they're looking to make amends here as we're now underway here in the second half of the first match of our PACWEST Match Day 3 doubleheader here out in Langley. The Langara Falcons, they're wearing all white with a little bit of orange and black piping trim and lettering. They're playing from left to right on your stream here on YouTube, PACWEST and Langara Falcons channels, whereas the Douglas Royals are playing in the classic royal green strip with a little bit of white and, dare I say, silver piping, trimming, and lettering there. They're playing from right to left on your stream. Just trying to suss out a couple substitutions here at the half. It looks like Alvin Prasad, I'm just getting a good look at the field here, has made at least one change. He's brought on the number 10, Abigail Gade from Maple Ridge. And we'll see if there's any changes been made to Douglas. I'm just scoping out one just now. Looks like Kaya Narcissus is in this one as well. Number 16, she's now in this game. Rita Circe fighting for position there with Georgia Dalrymple. Of course, the record between these two clubs last season in the regular season, Langara only managing one win against Douglas. It was a 1-0 affair. And Douglas beat them twice, and there was also a draw in the mix, so Douglas getting the better of Langara over the course of 4 matchups last year, but that's a whole different ballgame with some of the new additions Langara's brought to the table. And obviously, as mentioned, their first 6-point weekend in over 10 years. Since 2014, they managed to get back-to-back victories in a weekend. And that, of course, was the opening weekend, match days 1 and 2 last weekend against Capilano, who themselves are now in action. It's a full sked of games today in the PACWEST. VIU are taking Capilano on. That one just kicked off at 1 o'clock Pacific time. Still 0-0, and we'll keep you abreast, or you can even check it out yourself. PACWEST.ca BC. PACWEST. Just gonna have a quick little peek there and get everyone brought up to date on the out-of-town scoreboard. Still 0-0 between Capilano and VIU. That one, of course, being played in North Vancouver. Madison Pinch will float a ball into the 18-yard box, looking for Amber Wells, who was in a serious duel there with, I think it was Ashlyn Grimm. Beg your pardon. It's actually the number 21, Lucy Baker, who also came on as a halftime substitute. Throw in taken a ways back for Van de Vecht. She's going to poke it forward, but it's a bit of a halfway ball there by Van de Vecht. And now the Langara Falcons have some defending to do. Narcissus just has her pass picked out by her fellow number 16, Van de Vecht. Some vuvuzelas and cowbells on the opposite side of the park coming across the crowd mics there from some of the Douglas College support. Through ball played forward for Claver Valdez. That it looked like Van de Vecht was probably going to get on the end of. The referee brings the play back. He had given the advantage, but just inside the Langara half, it'll be Ashlyn Grimm's free kick to take. It's 1-0 Langara off the strength of a Madison Hung goal in that first half. Just waiting for the ball there. There was a Langara ball boy in the far corner, but I think he was taking a bit of a snooze. He let Anna Claver-Valdez come over and take it. So the gamesmanship runs deep at the collegiate level. Even the ball boys are in on it. Of course, I say that in jest. I don't want anyone to get upset at that. Ashlyn Grimm, left-footed. This one has some weight on it. Dobbin lets it go, and it looked like it might have handcuffed Bonazou. But I think if Dobbin manages to get a little flick on or even a little knockdown or a touch there, I think that's real trouble for the Falcons inside their 6 to 18-yard box. Unfortunately for the number 10, Dobbin, one of the taller players on the park for Douglas. She couldn't get her hair follicles on it, and it amounts to nothing more than a goal kick. 51 minutes in, it's still 1. And in a spot right now, if things stand in both games, well, they'll be top of the table by the end of the day and continue their perfect record, but I'm sure Douglas has other plans. This next goal is absolutely massive if you're the Falcons. The last thing they want to do is concede a second-half equalizer. Good play there by Van de Vecht, who welcomed the challenge of Claver-Valdez. Giovinazzo now into the path of the number 10. It's Gage, she's 1-1. She's put away Abigail Gage, left-footed shot, right-footed shot, and it's a tame one once again right at the keeper. Cassidy Kwan found herself in a similar position in that first half, and all she could do was really direct it straight at the keeper. It's so unfortunate for the Falcons. It was a well-weighted ball. I want to say it was Van de Vecht, or maybe even Giovinazzo, I beg your pardon, because she'd actually played into Giovinazzo, had Van de Vecht who released that ball there for Gade. And she was clearing away there, the Maple Ridge native. She just couldn't find the back of the net. Hung. Good dribbling by Hung. Shrugs off one, shrugs off two, tries to play it in for Gade again. Can Giovinazzo get there? She does. Puts on the brakes. Good play there by Giovinazzo. It would have been very easy to rush that one into the penalty box, but Giovinazzo keeps possession. And now Glavis, who just seems to pop up in those little pockets, in those little areas. Great little pivot now, and she's released Giovinazzo. Right-footed cross to the top of the 18-yard box. Hung reaches out to get it, but can't. Bandel tries to win it back and does. Good physical play there by Bandel. Clean, but physical. Cerceris. Good ball in. Good little deft touch, and Hung is offside. The flag has gone up. The referee hasn't spotted it. And I don't know if that was, unless the initial ball to Cerceris was offside, I think Hung was almost inside. I think Cerceris had to cut that one back. I could be mistaken. I'm at a different vantage point than at field level, right along the lineswoman's line, so I'm not going to tell a professional how to do her job, but I'm thinking that one was pretty tight. And a good little spell of passing there and play by the Falcons. Glavis, Giovinazzo, Cerceris, Hung. They all look up for it tonight. Ball over the top. That's going to be offside if it's not. Amber Wells looked like she came back from an offside position there, but the lineswoman says no go. On the dribble now, Wells puts in a cross. Goes the width of the area, but Glavis is going to put on the afterburners to get there. She needs some help, though. She has one to beat. Does Glavis. Plays the ball inside for Gade. They have Giovinazzo inside if they can find her, but they're trying to get it into the area for Madison Hung and Amber Wells. Good little spell there for the Falcons, though. They look like they're not content to try and guard a 1-0 lead, which you think would be a positive thing to hear in a soccer match. 54th minute. It's still 1-0 for the Langara Falcons. Madison Hung has the goal. Back-to-back weekends on the score sheet for Hung. Scott, who has played herself into a bit of trouble. Amber Wells is kind of buzzing about that back four just outside the 18-yard box, and it's a halfway ball from Gonzalez, who's put her defender Baker into a bit of trouble. Oh, good win on the duel there by Giovinazzo, who I think if Parks gets away from her there, that might have been a numbers mismatch. Abigail Gade's going to press the issue here against Emma Saran. And Saran under pressure has to play it out for a deep, deep throw in. Good play there by the Falcons again on the high press. 55 minutes in, 1-0 as the sunshine is now peeking out here at the LEC. Was started as a cloudy day at 20, is ramped up. It's got to be at least 22 now. And a little bead of sweat dripping down this broadcaster's brow at the moment. So if you're coming out here, be sure to bring a cooler or an umbrella for shade perhaps. Or you can wear your skimpy summer shorts out one last time, have one last go of it. Isabel Dobbin with a good roll of the defense. She needed to get that one spot on. And she has. She's kept going despite being swarmed by a sea of white shirts. It's kind of been the story of Dobbin's afternoon. She's had the 1, the 2, the 3 first touches go her way, but eventually the Falcons have just swarmed and the lack of options just have run out for Dobbin. That was a prime example. Hernandez now for Bandel. Can she pass it one time over for Glavis? She does. Promising play here. Glavis has acres of space to carry through. She's going to go central for Wells. Tried to clip it back into the path of Glavis. It was the right play. I think they had a lot of space for Gate on the right, but Glavis had one thing in mind, and that was cruising down Main Street. Sir Sirius now on the dribble. Good play there by Hung, who gives the shimmy and the shake to the winger. Across inside the penalty box. Right into the waiting arms of Estelle Gonzalez. Good play there again by Sir Sirius and Hung, who look like an absolute handful on that left-hand side. In that left channel, I do not fancy Lucy Baker, Emma Saran, Georgia Dalrymple. I can't imagine it's a fun day at the office when you have to guard those two. Van de Veck gets just ahead of Dobbin, and that's been another good duel the other way. Van de Veck not giving up an inch, but neither has Dobbin. First time cross into the area, flies past Pinch, past Van de Veck, back to Dobbin now. She's going to put another cross! Oh, it's in the 6-yard box, and Douglas are knocking at the door right now. Saran, left-footed shot, gets far too underneath, and it goes over the bar. But my goodness, Douglas there. They've still got life in them, and Langara have to be on their best behavior. Because anytime the likes of a Claver Valdez, or even one of the two Parks or Dobbin, get the ball at their feet with a little bit of daylight, I don't like your chances. Those ladies know how to finish. And Langara aren't out of the woods just yet. They still have to put their best foot forward. Gade, who's been a welcome inclusion, I have to say. Gade, she doesn't seem to stop running here. Dobbin into the path of Claver Valdez, works a 1-2 with the substitute, the number 16, Narcissus. Bit of a tame shot. Once again into the waiting arms of Bonazou, who's been spot on today. I think we have a motorcycle race going on behind us here on 200th Avenue, or 200th Street, I beg your pardon, in Langley. It is a very busy street. It is kind of just nestled right up against the backside of our broadcast location. So if you do hear any loud cars or motorcycles or tractors, don't be scared. Dobbin now in the penalty box, cuts back to her right foot. She can have a shot here if she wants. She does. It takes a deflection, and it took a little bit of the steam off of it. In fact, it took all of the steam off of it. And it ended up being a very easy clutch and claim for Bonazou. Glavis now. Bit of a heavy touch, Glavis, but she just shoulders her way through the tackle. Great play there by Glavis, who's going to keep her run going. Still going, Glavis, and she's going to get it onside. Glavis, 1-on-1 with the keeper. Right-footed shot, cuts back to her left. It's fantastic. Glavis, left-footed shot right at the keeper. Oh, my goodness. The Langara Falcons have had 3 one-on-one chances, and they're going to have to bury one of these, or they're just welcoming potential upset from the Douglas Royals. Has been fantastic from Estelle Gonzalez, who, after having a bit of an adventure in that first half coming off her line, has made herself big on 3 one-on-one occasions. And Glavis, Kwan, Gade have not been able to beat the keeper in yellow. Fantastic play there from the number 1 off to our right-hand side of our broadcast vantage point. Still 0-0 between Capilano and VIU. That one just into the 27th minute. I beg your pardon, they have the clock ticking down, so that would actually be the 15th minute. Give or take. I'm not a mathematician. I didn't go to Douglas College or Langara, so I don't have the brains of the higher educated types. 59th minute, 1-0 Langara. Madison Hung the goal. Half hour to go in this one. Feel that Langara need to get another goal just to make things a bit more comfortable for themselves, because at the moment I don't think 1-0 is going to cut it. Douglas look like they have enough in their step here to really force the issue. Throw into Dobbin. She's going to try and get to the goal line on pinch, then tries to cut inside. Giovinazzo wins the tackle. Cleanly does Giovinazzo, and pinch under a little bit of pressure. Wells, loses the tackle there with Grimm. Thankfully, both ladies none the worse for wear. Dalrymple. Narciss. Outdueled by Sirius, who does just enough to get it clear. Madison Pinch, a great outlet ball, to be quite honest with you. I thought she was putting it out into touch, but it finds Madison Hung, and the Langara Falcons manage to keep the ball and do so in a way which they can create something moving forward now. Long aerial vertical ball gets over the head of Baker, and it's going to be into the feet of Hung, who's gotten to the inside, make it the outside. Could it be a tap in for Gage? He misses just the right post. My goodness, how close can these Falcons come before they get the second marker? Gage could have two there. It's fantastic play up the left channel from Madison Hung to wriggle away from two tackles, Baker and Grimm. And all it needed was the final touch there from Gate. It should be 4-0 Falcons, let's be honest here, but just through some not rub of the green and some good goalkeeping by Gonzalez. It may leave the Falcons ruining some of these missed chances. We're in the 62nd minute now, and it's 1-0. The way of the Langara women. Madison Hung has the lone goal. Gade's back onto this ball. She has not stopped running. Give her credit, Gage. She's going to take it to the goal line because she put in a cross. It's a low, hard one. Cuts across the area. Dealt with by Grimm only as far as Hernandez. Dobbin, great switch of play if it can find its intended target. Rita Sirius is going to put on the Jets and at least cut down the angle. Good play there by Sirius. Very little gets past her. Let's be honest here. Very little gets past Rita Sirius. And Bandel just trying to take the ball away from Narciss there. Dalrymple on the deck looking for Dobbin. It was played just a bit behind the number 10 for Douglas. And Sirius has the ball now forward for Wells, who just couldn't help it on in time. Or Madison Hung might have been sprung free again. 22 minutes left to go between Capilano and VIU in their first half. Still 0-0 over in North Vancouver. Ooh, and Giovinazzo might have mistimed that header. It's giving it right back to Parks. Anna Claver-Valdez doesn't have a ton of options. She has Narciss, though. Sarin. Dobbin tries to get it between the legs of Pinch, and Pinch was having none of that. Plays it outfield for Amble. Well, she has the overlapping run of Madison Hung with a boatload of space to run into it. Now she's got the help from Wells as well. They're outnumbered, are the ladies in white, but that's not going to stop Madison Hung, who's going to go for a dribble. She gets plowed over there by Baker, and it will be a free kick for the number 5 of Langara. Well timed there. Nothing malicious about it by Baker, just a little bit of a mistimed coming together. This could actually be danger. Hernandez has taken all the free kicks today. Van de Vet kind of fainted like she wanted one, or feigned like she wanted one earlier. But it was just a layoff for Hernandez, who might uncork this one again. We're in the 64th minute. It's 1-0 for Langara. But they've been stopped on at least 3 or 4 one-on-one occasions, including a tap-in. Or they've missed. And you know the Falcons will be dying to get a potential second goal here. Van de Vecht, it's a shot, a right-footed knuckler that's actually palmed away by Gonzalez. It was hit with just enough steam, and it kind of hopped up right on the 6-yard line, and Gonzalez didn't want to take any chances. She just puts the fingertips, wraps it around the post, and it'll be another corner kick from the far right-hand side. A right-footed in-swinger for, I believe it's Manat Dillon over to take. We have a goal to speak of between VIU and Capilano. We'll get you that shortly, but first this free kick. Beg your pardon, corner kick. And Annette Hernandez is showing short, but it's actually a well-placed aerial ball right to the top of the 6-yard line. Manat Dillon's going to get another crack at this if she wants. It'll be a deep throw-in. VIU have opened the scoring against Capilano with 20 minutes to go in that first half, which means even with a Langara victory, that would still keep VIU top of the table if both scores were to remain as they are. Goal difference, the only difference between the two at the moment atop of the PACWEST women's standings. Bandel, still going Bandel, keeps it in play. Bandel just trying to wrestle her way, for lack of a better term, into the penalty box, but she was swarmed by green shirts, and even Aaron Bandel would have been hard-pressed to try and get that one into the penalty box. Pinch for Giovinazzo, back to Pinch. Now for Gade. Gade has the ball on her right foot. It's a clever ball by Pinch to try and get it back to Giovinazzo, who's now caught up field. This might be the time to break for Douglas. Alvin Prasad, coach his players to be a bit more positive. Substitution now for Douglas College. Entering the fray, number 15, Chiara Lucarelli. Exiting, I think it was the number 9, Jessica Parks. In fact, it was, yes. So one Park off, one remains, and Lucarelli is into this one. From Burnaby, BC. Bandel just tried to thread it through there for Gade to rush onto, but Ashlyn Grimm, who's probably been the best defender for the Royals today, came across 5 yards or so just to poke it out for a throw-in. Now ball thrown into the path of Amber Wells, who tried to flick it and roll it to herself. It's actually falling into the path of Madison Hung again. A bit of confusion there in the Royals backline, and Madison Hung smelt the danger, much like her first goal, and tried to just latch onto it. Unfortunately, the ball just didn't bounce for her. Lucarelli now for Saran. Good footwork by Saran there to find that lane and get some space for Lucy Baker. She gets it forward for Dobbin. Attempts to get it forward for Dobbin, and Madison Pinch didn't side foot that one away. That's a clear run on net for Dobbin. Good defending there by Pinch. Giovinazzo, infield for Glavis. Carrying forward, Glavis loves to run at that defense. Still going Glavis. They haven't put a glove on her yet. Amber Wells with a shot. Just scrapes it a bit far left of that right post of Gonzalez. We're going to have a substitution here again for Douglas. It'll be Talia Trasolini coming on here from Coquitlam. I'm not sure who came off there. It was Emma Saran who came off the near side, the number 14. So Trasolini, another Italian last name, back on the field. Lucarelli and then Trasolini. Oh, good flick there by Isabel Dobbin. Unfortunately, she just put it too far ahead of herself, and Van de Vecht has plenty of time to size up a touch and blast it forward. Gade's offside there. And the lineswoman, yes, gets that one. Which is unfortunate, because I think if she just keeps her on side, and I think Alvin Prasad, just giving her a quick crash course on spatial awareness there. As if she just was able to hold her line, that would have been a free run on net, and Glavis and Pinch and Giovinazzo had done ever so well to kind of get her in that territory. Gade wins the ball down for Hernandez. Excellent in tight spaces is Hernandez. She can work her way out of a phone booth at times. Can she get the switch now for Circeris? She thought about it, but instead played it short of ways. Circeris now for Hung. Circeris is going to continue her run. Nope, she'll put on the brakes, and now Madison Hung's going to put on the burners. That one came out of play. Throw in the way of Douglas. 69th minute, still 1-0 Langara. Madison Hung, the lone goal for the Falcons, who at the moment sitting second in the table in the PACWEST, tied with VIU. Goal difference, the only difference between the two, as VIU, the reigning PACWEST champs, have a couple more goals. That's risky business from Douglas. Giovinazzo and Gade team up to put a bit of pressure on Lucarelli, who herself does ever so well to split the wickets and try and get it forward for Claver Valdez. She's under pressure is the keeper, Kate Bonazuf, by Claver Valdez, but Madison Pinch just gave her a bit of shelter there. And they were able to get it forward. Trassolini now for Claver Valdez. Lucarelli. Good feed on Lucarelli. And things have gotten from bad to worse for Capilano in that first half. I think I updated the score with 22 minutes left to go in that first half. It was VIU. In the space of 4 minutes, it is now 3-0 for VIU over Capilano. So big uphill climb for the Capilano women, who themselves are struggling for their first point. Ball played around the back, looking for Amber Wells to run onto, but Estelle Gonzalez, who I'm sure got a word at halftime about some of her runs off of her line, gets that one bang on, and she's been very good ever since. 3-0 VIU against Capilano. I actually had to check my eyes there. It is in fact true. It might be a two-team race if this opening 3 match days are anything to go off of. Abigail Gade does well to put up the fight and win the ball. Bravo for number 10 in white, who was fighting a bit of a lost cause there, but forces Trassolini into a touch. And it'll be a deep throw in the way of the Falcons. We're in the 72nd minute. It's still 1-0 for the ladies in white. Giovinazzo with a throw in. Hernandez, I beg your pardon, just tried to wrap her foot around it. I think she was past the goal line anyways. Good endurance by Giovinazzo as well. She's coming back from that injury, and she didn't play full minutes last weekend, but the minutes she did play, she looked the part. And if that was a dress rehearsal, so to speak, she's got the part from this director. She's looked every bit up to the task for this one, the number 21 right back for Langara. Hung. Oh, this is a great promising play for Gade if she can get there. Madison Hung saw the run all the way, but she just put too much weight on the ball. And with this turf, even for Abigail Gade, who looks like she knows her way around a track meet, would have been tough for her to get on the end of that one. We're in the 73rd minute now. It's still 1-0 Langara. Cerceris, Van de Vecht. Good play there. The 1-2s in the passing for the Falcons. When it matters most, they don't get it wrong very often. Baker in a duel now with Hung. Hung's going to carry into the area. Good play there by Baker, who we've seen a lot of defenders get skinned and scammed there by Madison Hung in those channel runs. But Baker was equal to the task there, stayed with her the whole way, didn't foul, and manages to guide it out for a corner kick. They still have work to do there, but if you're the number 21 in the green defense, you have to be happy. Ball played short. Everyone sucked into the 6-yard box. Hernandez with a rip. And that one again took an awkward hop at the near post, but Estelle Gonzalez was ready for it this time. We're in the 74th minute, still 1-0 Langara. That's an old school FIFA 94 drop kick there. You love to see those. Rodrigo knows what I'm talking about, our cameraman here today. This could be a real chance here for Douglas if they can find Dobbin. Oh, good play there by Van de Vecht, who did just enough to stifle that forward momentum, because I think if Lucarelli was able to pick her head up there, if she wasn't under pressure, Dobbin probably receives a very favorable ball. And speaking of favorable balls, ball hopped up there and took a hit off the hand of, I think it was Van de Vecht. It's unfortunate. This turf is very lively sometimes, and that time it brought life to a play that looked like it might have been dead from a Falcons point of view, but Douglas pressed the issue. And Isabel Dobbin has a serious chance from a free kick here to put her name in the headlines. And nobody else is looking at over this one. It is number 10 Dobbin all day, every day. It's a 4-man wall. They're lining up people at the back post. I don't see why. I don't think you're floating this one into the back post. This is either going to be a quick rolled ball on the deck to try and slip it in for somebody, or this is going to be a laser of a blast from Dobbin, who I'd be willing to bet the farm and then some that Dobbin's going to smash this one. 75th minute, Dobbin steps over at right footed. She tried to scoop it into that top right-hand corner, and unfortunately it flies over into the supporter section behind the net, and Dobbin puts her head in her hands. She set such a high standard for herself over these past seasons that I'm sure Dobbin must be wondering in this opening 3 games what she has to do to get 3 points for her club. Substitution now as the number 10, who came on at the beginning of the half, Abigail Gade, comes off, coming on number 14, Marina Pashalides. 15 minutes to go here, plus a bit of stoppage time. I can't imagine a ton. We haven't had a lot of injuries today or real stoppages. Baker thighs it up into the air. Glavis knocks it back into the middle of the park. Dobbin slides it in for Claver Valdez, but Vandevect is so good at just intercepting balls, cutting down lanes, just making life miserable for the attacking players of the opposition. Look at this run here from Madison Hung. She is brave as a lion, that one. She doesn't care who you are. She'll win the ball back and then take it for a dribble around you. She's won the ball back off Baker again. Gives her the shimmy and the shake. Still going. Hung plays it into the top of the box. Pashalides was there, but she was just shoved aside by Ashlyn Grimm. Still alive, though. Clipped into the 6-yard box. Estelle Gonzalez has this one. Madison Hung, what an addition to this club. Ten minutes to go in the first half between VIU. It's still 3-1, or beg your pardon, 3-0 for the Mariners. We're in the 77th minute here. It's still 1-0 for Langara. Hernandez just helps it on for Bandal, who can take and turn. She welcomed a bit of pressure there from the number 23. Hannah Scott. Pashalides. Just got thugged off the ball there by Trasolini, did Pashalides. Glavis back for Pashalides. Good play infield for Wells, who saw that Pashalides hadn't continued to run, so takes, pivots, turns, and then Bandel tries to put a laser diagonal ball onto the foot of Madison Hung, but that one was just a bit too central. It would have been a tough ask for Hung to get on the end of that one. Another substitution coming up here for Douglas as Haley Rogers from Alberta, Lloydminster to be specific. She's going to come back into this one. One of 2 players from Alberta, the other being Isabel Dobbin from Edmonton. But outside of that, Douglas College represented by all BC natives. Free kick here for Douglas, 78th minute, 1-0 Langara. A couple of substitutions possibly coming up here for Langara. Number 8, Manat Dillon's going to come back into this one. Loud support here for the DC Royals. It's Ashlyn Grimm, who, it's a shot come cross. Dobbin might have got there to knot it in at the back post, but Kate Bonazoo has been pretty bang on with some of her judges of, oh my goodness, I think Vandevek might get her marching order here because she put the ball way ahead of herself. And I think she's lucky to get away with just a yellow card because she threw in a dicey tackle there in an area where, oosh, that could have been a real goal-scoring opportunity, and it looked like she got a good chunk of Claver Valdez. That looked studs up, too. I'd be surprised if that didn't get looked at. That was a nasty bit of business. It's good to see the number 5, Claver Valdez, up and walking, and I don't want to be too harsh on Vandevek there, but from this distance, ooh, that was a real murderer's row of a tackle, let me tell you. She was taking no prisoners there. I know, I'm looking at Rodrigo, the cameraman, and I think he's agreeing with me. That was about as robust a tackle as you're gonna get away with for a yellow card. I think Vandevek should be happy that's all that was brandished there. My goodness me. Manat Dillon's back into this one. Erin Bandel, who you could tell was playing a different role here today for Alvin Prasad's club. She'll come off and get a rest. 10 minutes to go here, still 1-0 Langara, but the Douglas Royals have been getting themselves some interesting free kicks in the last 15 minutes or so. They're taking this one to the end. And now the referee is going to come and brandish a red card to Van de Vecht. I thought that might have been the case, and to be honest with you, from this distance, even from this distance, that's probably the right call. She got everything on Claver Valdez. It was a studs-up, clumsy tackle after she had lost the ball and played it too far ahead of herself, and the linesman who was right there, I think, brought the referee over and said, hey, you might want to issue some supplementary discipline here, because it was a nasty tackle, and I think that's probably the fair call there. It makes the game now a little bit tougher for the Falcons. With 10 minutes to go, they're going to have to play a man down. I beg your pardon, they'll have to play a woman down. It's going to be, I think it's Grimm, but it might be Baker. No, Baker's at the halfway line, so it's going to be Ashlyn Grimm staring over this one. Left-footed. It's a 3-woman wall. And now they're one personnel member down, with Van de Vecht just getting handed her marching orders. So this game has had just about everything, and Ashlyn Grimm is now going to take the free kick just over the bar. Another free kick chance from just inside 25 yards goes a begging for the Royals. I'm going to go back to some of the chances that Langara couldn't put away. They've had 4 or 5 one-on-one chances, whether it was Gade, Glavis, Hung. They just haven't been able to pull the trigger on that second goal, and now down to 10 players. I wonder if those chances will come back to bite them in the keister. Douglas now all of a sudden smell blood after Langara's one of their best defenders so far in this opening 3 games has been sent packing after a very, very rash challenge. 82nd minute, approaching the 83rd. It's still 1-0 for the Langara Falcons, and they might just want to give Madison Hung the ball and let her run her to the corner and just try and create havoc in the 18-yard box of the Royals, and that's what they've done there. They've actually won a corner kick. They played it off the lap of Baker. It was Pashalides who was the closest to it, and they'll take their sweet time, I can imagine, to get this corner kick going. Will the Falcons, if you're just joining us, 1-0 for Langara. But moments ago saw their center back Van de Vecht sent off for a lunging tackle on Anna Claver Valdez. It was about ankle high too. There was really no arguing it. It was just under the knee. It wasn't like an actual accidental step on the toe or something that you might be able to brush off and say, you know what, a little bit clumsy. It was a nasty little tackle, and Anna Claver Valdez is lucky that she's in one piece. Just getting a look down below us, Erin Bandels in the physio tent. She entered this game with a black wrist wrap on her left wrist, and she's currently getting it iced at the moment, so a bit tender there, the number 9 for Langara, who unfortunately, after her opening day brace, was not able to add to that tally today if you're a Falcons fan. Good play there by Pashalides, right-footed shot. That was cut down by Grimm. An easy stop there for Estelle Gonzalez. We're in the 84th minute now. Still 1-0 Langara Falcons as they try and desperately hold on to a lead. And Rita Searceris has misplaced a header uncharacteristically. Amber Wells now has dropped and is playing as one of the back 4. So she'd been playing as a striker ever since she came on as a striker. Or she'd been playing as a striker ever since she came on, I beg your pardon, the number 11. But now she's forced to the other end of the pitch where she'll have to be tasked with keeping the ball out of the net. 85th minute approaching us, still 1-0 Langara. About 7 minutes to go here plus change. And things have gone from bad to worse for Capilano and their tilt with top of the table VIU. 4-0 for the Mariners now at halftime, so a very uphill Capilano climb, who themselves looked like they may be doomed to 3 straight defeats and 0 points to start the campaign. Regardless of what happens here, whether Langara win or not, they'll remain in second, as it looks like VIU is going to hang on to a 4-0 victory, keep their top of the table spot, and add to their goal difference. You feel those head-to-head matches between VIU and Langara, which, looky, we have coming up tomorrow, both men's and women's. More important so on the women's side. definitely one to watch tomorrow now as a top of the table clash is imminent. Dobbin takes a touch to her left. She has Lucarelli. She gets it there. Can Lucarelli put in a cross? She cuts back to her right. Madison Pinch did ever so well to kind of just get in her way. A little bit of a shirt tug there as well. Pinch was flirting with disaster, but stifled Lucarelli just at the moment of truth. 86th minute coming up. 1-0 Langara. 10-woman Langara after Tess Vandevecht from North Vancouver was sent off with a straight red following a lunging tackle. Haley Rogers wins down that header. Dobbin dropping deeper to get on the ball. She draws a foul there, and Douglas are getting more and more comfortable on the ball here. That ball was rolling. The referee calls that one back on a handball. Easy come, easy go. We're in the 86th. It's 1-0 Langara. It's been an entertaining game despite the score sheet. Langara have had at least, like I've mentioned, 3 or 4 runs in on net, one-on-one. Glavis, Gade, Hung, Kwan, Wells. Long, straight ball right up Main Street. Madison Hung is going to go barging in to see if she can make something out of it, and she usually does. Unfortunately, that time she was just kind of kept at bay by the green shirts. Annette Hernandez, I beg your pardon, is in a dogfight in the middle of the park there with Narcissus, and the number 16 in green comes away with it. Got to give credit to the Falcons, though. Despite being a player down there, pressing every ball, there's nobody standing around and looking. There's no bystanders here, and Giovinazzo needs a bit of help and you can hear Alvin Prasad just asking for a bit of help as Giovinazzo was outnumbered and against one of the most lethal strikers in the league, and Pinch and Dillon both came across to help, and that's just what I'm sure Coach Alvin Prasad will be happy to see, is that teamwork and that team effort when the chips are down ever so slightly. 87th minute, still 1-0 for 10-player Langara. You just wonder if Prasad might go to his bench to bring on some fresh legs. I can imagine these girls are probably pretty tired. They've been chasing shadows for the last 10 minutes or so. Ever since Vandevecht has been sent off, it's been mostly Douglas, with Langara getting the odd clearance to try and get a bit of a breather. And Giovinazzo just gets the head to that one, but now she has to drop with Pinch and Lucarelli in a bit of a scrap at the moment. Shot from Lucarelli, a half-hearted effort. Hops up on the 6-yard line. 88th minute, Langara up 1-0 and clutching onto the dying embers of this contest as they look to get 3 straight victories for the first time in, gosh, I would have to check with media guru Sean Shook down at the Langara bench to see when the last time they pulled this one off was. We'll effort that. Douglas College fans, I beg your pardon, on the far side coming to life now. Lucarelli cross into the middle of the park. It's a good one for Claver Valdez. Overlapping run. Can Madison Hung get there? Claver Valdez with a shot. It looked like the keeper might have been blinded by the sun ever so slightly. She had her palms out in front of her face to kind of block the sun, and ended up not fortuitously, she knows what she's doing in there, does Bonazou, but doing a little bit of UV protection while also protecting her goal, and she managed to get both done. So well done to the number 1 in teal for the Falcons. 89th minute, and this could be the final run on net. It's Madison Hung, still in the area, shrugs a tackle, she's pushed over. I didn't see a penalty there, but Marina Pashalidis is alive in the penalty box to keep it for the Falcons. Looked like Hung had just gotten bodied off of that one cleanly. Good call there by the referee, Annette Hernandez. Didn't really need to go for a shot there. That needed to just be a ball-keeping scenario, and I think Alvin Prasad is bellowing that on the far side to Hernandez to just keep your head. You know, we're trying to keep the ball here. We don't need to be scoring a goal, especially when we're outmanned by 4 or 5 players neath the corner flag. I think Langara's best option at this point is probably just to try and wind down the clock inside the opposition half. I can't imagine they want to play with fire in their end, especially as they have a bit of a makeshift back four right now with Amber Wells playing in the center of defense with Madison Pinch. I think I just saw the motion of 3 minutes of added time from the lineswoman just by Alvin Prasad. She threw up the 3 on her hand, and she could have been asking for 3 Gatorades. I don't know, but that to me probably indicates that we'll probably have around 3 minutes of extra time. Added time, I beg your pardon. And we're into it now, into the 90th. All hands on deck for the Langara Falcons after Tess Vandevek's red card made things very interesting. The ball humped clear. Marina Pashalides is going to try and get there. I don't think she's gonna. She's offside. I don't know why the lineswoman wouldn't just throw up her flag immediately instead of welcoming a collision between the goalkeeper and an onrushing striker, but I'll never get that. And that's one thing I'll always say about lines people. So if you don't like that I said that, sorry. But we're trying to avoid collisions here. That flag should have gone up way beforehand. Douglas College, probably about 2 minutes and a half. And the Langara Falcons, I don't know why they're keeping Marina Pashalides up at the halfway line with this much time back. I know they don't want to bunker in, and they do have to have an outlet moving forward, but I'm sure young Marina wouldn't mind doing a bit of chasing, because at the moment they're 2 men down having to defend because Douglas is sending everybody forward here at the Langley Event Center. Time ticking down now, probably about a minute and a half by my sundial for the Langara College to hang on to what would be 3 straight wins. And for the time being, top of the table, but VIU at the moment thumping Capilano 4-0, and if that result holds, they'll go right back tops. This looks promising for Douglas. Ball spread wide. It's the substitute, Kaylin Chong. Good play there by Pashalides just to snatch in and win the ball back for Langara. They need a little bit of help in the second wave. Annette Hernandez takes no chances and just blasts it out into section WV here at Willoughby Field, the home of Vancouver FC in the CPL, also the Vancouver Giants at the LEC, and the Fraser Valley Bandits, beg your pardon, now called the Vancouver Bandits, the local basketball club here. So plenty of sports going on, but the one we're focused on right here is the Langara Falcons ladies and the Douglas Royals ladies, to see who will make things interesting standing-wise. At the moment, Langara down to 10 men, up 1-0 with time ticking down. Hung, she's going to go to the corner flag. Smart play by Hung. That's what you're supposed to do. She's going to take it to the, or is she going to go in the box? Wait a minute. Goes for the old shimmy and a shake. Glavis. And I think Prasad is frustrated with that as well. I think he thought she was going to the corner flag as well, and now Douglas have got the ball back, and it's 2-on-2, and Prasad's hands are in his head already. If it wasn't for Amber Wells coming across here, the ladies in white need to drop, and yeah, Prasad looks like he's beside himself. He wanted that ball to go to the corner flag, and I can't say I blame him. I thought that's where it was headed as well. Dobbin now pokes it inside for Claver Valdez, returns the favor to Dobbin. Dobbin still going to the back post, nobody's there. It's number 16, Sir Sirius away, Giovinazzo away. All hands on deck now for Langara with probably mere seconds left in this one. We don't have a stoppage time clock. Lucarelli takes a shot, that's charged down. Giovinazzo throws in a late tackle, that doesn't get there. And Bonazou will probably be, I hope, happy to just hold on to this one for a while, and maybe even taking a time-wasting yellow card. Prasad, Coach Alvin Prasad for Langara just down below us. Looks like he's getting his steps in, and he's sweated probably a kilo of blood, sweat, and tears in this last 5 minutes of stoppage time. And there's been some curious decisions by the Langara ladies. There was a couple times where they could have taken it to the corner flag or just kept the ball, and they decided to keep attacking. I don't know if that's what the doctor ordered at this stage of the game. I think just some pragmatic, defensive, smart football is what Alvin Prasad wants to see out there, and some smart decisions, some good judgment calls. And of course, this is not a lot of new players this season for the Langara Falcons, but they're starting ever so well, and I'm sure the last thing he wants to see is them throw away points on rash decisions or decisions that they could take their time to make a little bit more. And there is the full-time whistle. The Langara Falcons, they didn't do it easy, but they got the job done. It's a 1-0 victory over Douglas College on the strength of a Madison Hung goal And despite a Tess Van de Vecht red card for the time being, that puts Langara top of the table on 9 points. Douglas stay rooted to the foot of the table with no wins, no points. But VIU currently in action with Capilano. That game is at halftime. VIU out to a commanding 4-0 lead. So outside of a miracle, VIU will probably regain top spot and add to their goal differential. But as it stands, the Langara, they start the campaign a perfect 3-0, and they have to be happy with that performance as well. Of course, the doubleheader is coming up. The men take the field at 2:30, a rematch of the PACWEST men's finals from last year, where the Langara Falcons needed a shootout to take down the then reigning champions, Douglas College Royals. We'll come back shortly with that one. Kickoff at 2:30. In the meantime, the Langara women victorious over Douglas, 1-0. They go top of the table for the time being. I'm Corey Basso signing off for this first match of this PACWEST doubleheader from Langley, BC, Canada at the LEC.